What's that all about? Anyway, if you want a lesson with a trombone player, such as myself, check out the link in the description and we'll work something out and we'll do internet lessons. It's pretty cool. Just a thought. Anyway, let's move on to number 2 of question mark basses coming my way. That's number 1 right here, the Olsen 50 with a screw bell, 2 independent Olsen rotor ball bearing valves, etc. We talked about that last time. Awesome horn. I've been playing the crap out of it, and I really enjoy it. It's totally different than the 50K3 I've been playing, or the 50B3OG I had before that. Honestly, every 50 I have is totally different, so that's another one to add to the pile. This is not a 50. This is made by somebody else. Yes, I bought a bass trombone not made by Bach. I have owned a few that were not made by Bach, and I've actually owned one before made by this manufacturer. It is a Holton Holton TR-185. I know how to say that. This instrument resided in Japan for, I don't know, probably 45 years or something. It was bought by somebody, and I bought it from them. Why would I buy this? I usually don't like Holtons. I don't like nickel slides. I don't like singles. I don't like red bells. There's so many things about this that I don't like, and yet I still bought it. Well, one, wasn't that expensive. Basically funded by selling another instrument, and so, hey, why not? And 2, it has this. The legendary slot-in valve. I have a giant, raging weakness. I'm saying weakness for slot-in valves. I love slot-in valves. It's like the coolest thing. I don't know what it is. It's not something smart. It's nothing like that. I just love slot-in valves. Now, what is this though? So, as you can see from this side, it's basically just a single with a closed wrap. And that's how this horn was designed. Kind of a change to the Holton 169, which has no numbers, just the 169. They came out with the TR-185 shortly after. I don't think the 169 was on sale for very long. And it's basically the same instrument, just a couple changes. And honestly, I've asked a couple people, they don't even really know what they are. Somebody out there knows. And during the same time-ish, symphony players were like, yo, we need a way to play low Bs and, the occasional low C better. Just kind of sucks on a single, like the Bartok Gliss from low B to F in first position. One, dumb Gliss, Bartok, that's on you. There's no way to play that for reals unless you have a long F bass where you can actually go from 7th to 1st. And of course, the way to cheat it is by just adding another valve, and you can start in B, and on your way up, boop, just end up in first position on F. And before instruments like this, the Reynolds Stereophonic, a couple other double valve instruments, there kind of was no way to do that. There were no double valve options. And so they started to come on the market. Holton was like, well, we don't want to design an entirely new bass, so ta-da! We'll just pop this on the back of your single, and now you got a double. And honestly, this isn't the worst way to do it. Talk about what I think of how it plays in a second. But basically, we just get a valve that's plugged into the back. Instead of this being just the crook of this F attachment, in the middle of the crook, there's a valve. And it goes out here, and it wraps around with these cool 3D knuckles here. And I have it pulled to E flat-ish right now. Pushed all the way in. It's about E. It's pretty short. It's not very long. I think there are D slides you can get for these, or at least I might have one made, because E flat, I don't know, it's not super great. Anyway, this is a way to get a double valve instrument. Now, one thing that shows up in that, I'm assuming a lot here, but one thing that shows up that obviously makes this an older instrument, designed for things like the Bartok Gliss, is that the way to use the second valve is you can only use it one way. If you press both valves at the same time, and at some point, you can let go of the second valve and play the first valve. If you play a first valve, there's no way to play the second valve and add it in. There's no way to do that. There's no rollers, there's nothing. Like the 50B2, which came out shortly after this, has a second valve here, has rollers, kind of like Sachs rollers, where you can move your thumb kind of like between them and add the second valve. It's still awful. It's a ridiculously bad design, but it still makes it possible. This, no going. I mean, I literally just put my thumb in between the two. You can't play the second valve. So, big knock against it right there. You can only start with both valves and then go to 1 or go to 0. Also, second knock against it, and that might be just because of the way this is set up currently. It's really hard to kind of align all this stuff just right. And of course, this linkage has to move if you move the F attachment. More things to mess with. But as it stands, the throw on each valve, how much it moves, is different. So if you press down the F valve, and you can see the levers right here, if I press down the F valve, it goes to here. And right here, they're basically touching, right? If I go to here, that's the F valve. If I press here, that's the E flat valve. See how far apart they are? That air gap? That means if you press down just the second valve by itself, you are half valving the F valve. Look how much farther it has to go. So even right now, I have no way to play both valves with just my thumb. If I take this off, I can like really jankily play both at the same time. Not the world's best ergonomics. It's not the worst. Actually, you can see the F lever is the old style Bach Mount Vernon, New York underslung, where it goes under your thumb instead of over. And it is nice far distance away from something like the Get a Grip, which is great. It's the opposite problem with this, where the F lever is actually like an inch closer to this and just touches. And it's really uncomfortable for my hands. So in that way, it's better. In the way where you want to use both valves, it's worse, because you can't use both valves. That's something I'm going to have worked on, of course. So how does it play? Way, way better than I thought. I don't really like Holtons. Usually the lead pipes are just trash from the factory. They're not good lead pipes. This one's not bad. It plays well everywhere. I'm like weirdly surprised. Also, typically the slot-in valve setup, especially with a shorter slide like the E-flat slide, plays a little bit better than something with the valve designed in the wrap. I'm not sure if it's because the valve is way out here. There's something about it. It's just a little more open. It feels better to play. I've had 350 B2s with a second valve right here. None of them have been especially good, especially open. And I've sold all of them, of course. This doesn't feel like that. And these are not big valves. The bore of the valves is only 585 instead of 592. And it just feels great. It's got a nice core to the sound. And of course, I can't actually play with both valves, but that's something that we'll have to change at some point. So I'm just really impressed. I thought this was going to be not great. I didn't pay very much for it. And I'm an idiot because I just like the slot-in valves. But I really didn't expect it to be that good. And it's actually quite good. So I'll give you guys more thoughts. I'm going to play some real music on it. I've had it for like 3 hours now. And I'll let you know. Right now I'm playing with my Yamaha Doug Yo. Kind of a good match for this because he plays a gold bell and kind of a stuffy-ish instrument. Good match. Also, it came from Japan. Whoa! Originally, it has this cool ancient Yamaha slide grease with all the kanji or some Japanese on it. It's got this ancient slide cream you're supposed to use on your slide, of course. It's almost empty. They used all of it. And I don't know, this is really cool. Yamaha slide spray. This is a little more modern, I think, but not that much more modern. I don't even use water on my slides, so I'm going to keep all three of these things, but because I think they're kind of cool. I've never even seen this Yamaha logo with the red and the blue. Pretty neat. Anyway, that's my Holton 185. I'm super excited about this. I kind of didn't even really think about buying it, and I did. And here it is. And now I've got 2 out of some amount of bases coming to me. And I'll see you guys next time.